Hi, my name is Patrick Howe, and I'm the production designer of seasons 2 and 3 of Only Murders in the Building. I'm going to show you around. Let's get to it. Our apologies if you hear any additional sounds or noises while we're taking our tour. We're in the middle of preparations for scenes next week with lots of construction and painting. Welcome to the primary hallway of the Arconia. As you remember, in the beginning of season 2, we introduced the architect of this building, Archibald Carter. He was famous for developing this building. It's an entire block on 86th and Broadway. It was chock full of secret passageways and secret elevators.
Bunny had a secret elevator? Where does it go? Hell?
It's modeled on late 19th century architecture in New York City. This is a very sort of common look of these mosaic tile floors, which we wanted to carry throughout the common areas of the Arconia.
Did Jim poison you?
Oh, shit, wasn't it?
We have to get him to a hospital.
You've seen this before from season 1 and 2. You'll see it a lot in season 3.
You can't sell this. Wasn't this your biggest show?
No. This is my biggest flop.
Oh, there were bigger flops.
Oh, no.
He does have a closet dedicated, some accessories for Winnie and leashes, etc. If you look real closely at some of these accessories, you'll notice that they're all a nod to films that Martin Short and Steve Martin have been in. Oliver we know as a Broadway director.
Not squirt, not tinkle, splash.
And this is a different look for this season. About episode 3, we start moving furniture out of the living room and putting it everywhere else in the apartment in order to make room for Oliver to rehearse his show. Hence all of this furniture stacked up around the perimeter.
And we are going to kick ass with this show. You hear me, Oliver? Oh my God.
The Death Rattle musical takes place in Nova Scotia. Some of the characters are these triplets, and this is the bassinets of the era that the show takes place in. Hi, welcome to Ben Glenroy's penthouse apartment at the Arconia. Formerly Sting's apartment in season 1, and another version of it for Amy Schumer in season 2. And Amy Schumer has kindly sublet her apartment to the character Ben Glenroy, played by Paul Rudd. Ben is a famous Hollywood actor known for a lot of franchise movies. One of the many movie roles that he's famous for is playing the character Cobra.
Cobra doesn't live in the gray. Is he a cobra? Yeah. Is he a bro? Yeah.
By day, he's a zoologist, and by night, he converts to a snake where he can help police solve crime. Our wonderfully talented scenic artist department did the sculpting and painting of this from scratch, and there's snakes tucked away in this apartment represented in different artworks and sculptures. Initial directive from our showrunner and the first script about his apartment was that it had a lot of memorabilia, that it was the equivalent of a Hard Rock Hall of Fame volume. There's Kansas City Chief and Kansas City Royal jerseys that are framed, and that's really from Paul Rudd's hometown. So let's step further back into this next room that's got many more treats inside. Fictitious movie Chinook Rising, a positive spin on the Iraq War, and commissioned portrait from George Bush, who now paints. A portrait of Ben Glenroy done in Legos. It's no surprise that we need a lot of places to hide. In season 2, there was all of the story about the secret passageways in the Arconia. Of this season, Mabel and Taubert are investigating in here. Somebody else enters the room. They need somewhere to quick hide, so they hop in the armoire. There was initially a scene of opening the doors and them starting to step in, and you see the doors closing with them inside. Of course, the rest of the scene taking place inside an armoire, with the back removed, the wall behind this removed, the sides removed, so that you can get a multitude of shots of them. From inside, they could part the curtains this way, and camera could get their point of view and shoot right through the curtains to see Dickie walking around in the other room. This is Charles's front foyer area. Leads to several rooms of the complex. We've got the informal family room here that goes right into the kitchen.
Is that blood?
Unlike in actual homes and apartments, Our ceilings can fly out for lighting purposes, so it's an elaborate system of supporting with beams and then sections of ceiling that can come out. We also have the living room as well. Debuted season 1, designed by Kurt Beach and decorated by Rich Murray, who's still decorating the show. It's just really a beautiful job of a very controlled palette that works for Steve Martin very well. This palette of blues and grays.
Still.
They found this fabric for the sofa, and that was a good key to all the colors of the whole apartment. Outside these windows, we have photographic backdrops of buildings on the Upper West Side. The Arconia has windows on all 4 sides, and so it's common that nicer apartments have at least 2 exposures. This is the front door of Mabel's we've all known for the last couple of seasons, and come on into this new foyer. In episode 10 of season 2, we saw her starting to paint over her mural, which was a big step about moving forward, and I'm gonna make some changes in my life that is gonna include renovating the apartment. So coming through here, this is the new dining room area. Leads us right into the living room. If you recall in seasons 1 and 2, this was a completely gutted apartment.
You're living here in the middle of a renovation?
Please focus.
What we saw was a raw fireplace and raw stud walls and bare plaster. And now it's been completely freshened up, if you will. What I wanted to do was maintain the openness. It was a very successful design from season 1 where, because of the open stud walls, you had a lot of depth into the bedroom and the set was very spacious looking. Even though it needed to be finished, I did not want to do a solid wall here, so I came up with this shutter system, light and airy, and it looks very elegant this way. Mabel in story did design this herself and had the renovation executed by professionals, but it has this look not so much tailored to her own taste, but a universal taste that makes it marketable to sell. Behind me now is the wall that in the previous 2 seasons had the mural that Mabel painted as an artist that reflected characters in the building. And I wanted to maintain or give a special tribute to that, hence this gilded frame. We have a new wallpaper inside it, a print of building facades that's very, very similar to the facade of the building we use for the Arconia. I think there's 6 or 7 patterns of wallpaper. Most of them have this very organic feel about them. That does tie to Mabel's personality about her artistry and concern for the environment and such. And without giving too much away, let's just say you will see her in bed with somebody later on. I'm not going to say more than that right now. Come this way. We can cut through any number of these spaces. Here we're going out of the set now. The messy backstage, don't tell anyone. A backdrop for Charles's. This is all very compact. You have to maximize the square footage of every bit of real estate to fit all your sets in. So come on in, I'm going to give you a very brief sneak peek of Loretta's studio apartment. Loretta's played by Meryl Streep. She's been a gift wrapper at Macy's for 40 years and always wanted to be an actress.
Where have you been?
Thanks to Oliver, she gets her big break finally. But she has a modest lifestyle, lives in this small studio apartment, definitely a rent-controlled apartment. In episode 5, she's invited Oliver over for dinner. She normally cooks her pork chops in the microwave, which has gone out, and so she's forced to cook it in the oven. This is kind of a lot of kitchen for a studio apartment, but I needed to create it open in this way so that we could actually film that cooking part. Loretta has been a gift wrapper at Macy's for most of her adult life, so we've just done some nods of some ribbon motifs of this copper bow here. There's a quilt holder on the wall there. There's some other nods to Meryl's career. She has a lot of books. She studies plays and theater history. When your whole life is here for 40 years, then you need to have as much storage as possible. This raised platform area, these are all ways to sort of maximize your space. When we're finished, this will strike a perfect balance of modest yet attractive and charming and tasteful space. Welcome to the Gooseberry Theater dressing room complex. So the Gooseberry Theater is a fictional Broadway theater in the heart of Midtown. Like most all of the other theaters built at the turn of the century. When we see the house of the theater, it has a very Moorish style. It's very opulent. Above us, these vintage overhead fixtures have a theatrical quality themselves, as if possibly from a movie palace era. So the research of all these theaters really reflected just how old they are and how long they've been around, and that they have some original elements of hardware and plumbing from very far back. So let's have a peek at Kimber's dressing room. Kimber is an ingenue on the show, very excited for this Broadway part that she's gotten. She's youthful, energetic.
I didn't realize we had any love scenes.
What? We're in the middle of one right now.
Oh.
It was important to me to reflect the characters that we have in the show in their dressing rooms. The mirrors do what we call gimbaling, so they tilt a little bit and we can tilt them in both directions. That helps with camera reflections as we're filming in each of these rooms. And of course, this is a very small space, so each of these walls breaks away as well. The ceiling stays put, but we can pull the walls away. Kimber has a beauty product line. You'll learn in story, she's actually camped out here quite a bit with her side business. So let's have a peek into Charles's dressing room. It's right this way. When we were in Charles's apartment earlier, we saw all of the blue colorways of the living room. Steve Martin looks good in these colors, so I repeated those qualities here to tag the consistency to this character. And so we have these blue colorways of flooring and furniture for his dressing room. Here, what you see is the remnants of Ben Glenroy's dressing room from opening night. It's been preserved this way because we were already into story past opening night. These were all formerly fresh flowers, of course, from opening night, but some time has passed. So these are real arrangements. Easiest way to make them look dead is to have the filming time to let them die naturally. So this concludes our set tour of season 3 of Only Murders in the Building. Thanks for stopping by Architectural Digests.